Everybody, welcome back. I'm on my second cup of coffee, so I'm feeling a little bit more alive. All right, so a lot of people have been asking me about making another video on media. So that's what I'm going to do here for you guys today. I find this to be a very important conversation because I see too many times right now the preparedness community, people are overwhelmed, they're scared, they feel hopeless, they're depressed. And I think a lot of that has to do with you falling into the trap that media set for you. And I don't mean that to be indicative, just hear me out, but I think that there is a way, the way you can intake the news, take what you need from it, and discard the rest. Personally, I think that there is a good reason to read the news to stay connected. You know, I can say that I believe that the news is mainly there for you to get entertained, right? I believe in hashtag capitalism, right? I believe that the news has become a way of entertainment. And if 2020 doesn't say that, I don't know what else does. They have to make themselves relevant because less and less people are watching the news. More and more people are getting their news from other places like social media, which again is there for monetization, advertisement, likes, etc. So it is there to get as many people there as possible. And you do that by eccentric titles, clickbait, focusing on all the bad things. And so I think we have to understand that this is what news is. And this is the news of the future. Hashtag capitalism. Make as much money as you can, get as much viewership as you can. And we see this with the preparedness influencers in general, right? A lot of stuff they talk about is very, attention grabbing, and it's there to get your attention, to feed the monetization, to feed the views, to feed the likes, all that stuff. And so understanding that, I think, is super important to understand what the news is there to do. Now, with that being said, I still believe that it's important to be connected. But it's also important to know what is actionable and what you need and what you don't need. And that's what I'm going to talk about with you, how I filter news and what I look at. So the first thing that I think it's important that we need to realize is being intentional, right? Being intentional what we are trying to do. I use an example that a lot of people liked. A few people told me they were going to steal it, and I think it's great. The pink dog, right? If I tell you there's a pink dog over there, as biological humans, we are designed to adapt, to overcome cause and effect with the reality environment around us. So if I tell you there's a pink dog over there, you're immediately going to look and say, oh my gosh, there's a fucking pink dog over there. And so what you're doing is I'm giving you something that is inflammatory, something that is, controversial, something that's just not of the ordinary. And I'm saying, look at it. Would you just look at it? Just look at it. So there's a pink dog over there. So your mind is going to form an opinion about the said pink dog. Well, all I'm trying to do is get you, not necessarily trying to tell you what to think of, how to think about the pink dog or trying to sway your opinion of the pink dog. I just want you to think about the fucking pink dog. So as long as I do that, I've won. I have you where I want you. I have you thinking about the things I want you to think about. And that is what the news, and that is the purpose of what the news is trying to do. Let me show you a picture to really sum up what I'm trying. So there you go. I think that's a great rendition of the relationship that we have with the mass media. Now, with that being said, I think that, my interpretation of media really falls in line with Stanley J. Barron's definition in 2002. He's quoted with saying that the media may not tell us what to think, but the media certainly tells us what to think about. And I think that that's very true, and that's how I look at the information that is provided to me. So the next question really is, what do we do about it? What's the actionable steps that we take? And I can't answer that for you, but I can tell you for me, like I've said already, you need to be very, 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 very particular, intentional with how you look at the news, right? So the first thing I do is I look at something, see if it's actionable, see it's something I need to be focusing on. That's the first filter here. Is the news telling me about a pink dog something I need to be worried about, or something that I need to take into consideration with any brevity for empirical analysis? No. So I'm not going to focus on the pink dog. So really being intentional, right? So once we get past that, understand what does it mean to be intentional. For me, I look at news from a what's going on locally, right? So I want to know the news that's local. I want to know what's going on in my local community, in my neighboring cities. I take that information to see if there's anything actionable that needs to go to it. So I'm intentionally looking for the things around me. The next pieces of news that I look at is has anything changed within the county news, as far as does the county want to put new taxes in? Are they wanting a new levy? What does the county want? What is the county doing? What are the elected officials of the county thinking about? What's in their minutes? Same thing with your local city. If you live in a city, see what your city council is doing. Are they wanting to increase your water bill? Are they wanting to increase public utilities? Are they wanting to put in more city ordinances, right? Are they want to be able to ticket you for the color of your yard, where your car's parked? These are all things that matter a whole lot more than the crazy pink dog incident in Ohio, right? So I'm very intentional about understanding what's going on in a local level. Then I intentionally want to know what's going on in the agricultural sector. That's huge to me. I want to know feed prices are going up. I want to know about commodity prices. I want to know about all that stuff, trade thereof. Those are all important things to me. Now you have to figure out what's intentional for you, but for me, it's really important to know what those things are and what's going on in those sectors. I'm intentional about that. I'm intentional about getting that empirical data and seeing how that's going to affect me. But that's just me. That's not something that's going to be handed to me. That's not something that's going to be an alert on my phone that's going to say, hey, bro, this is the commodity prices. These are feed prices. I never get that stuff. I get stuff about, Kim Kardashian's fake boobs or whatever the fuck is going on with them. Or, I get, oh, Trump's fucking court stuff didn't go well in Pennsylvania. Some Pennsylvania federal judge turned down his, whatever docket he had, X, Y, and Z. So I get news alerts for that. I get news alerts anytime, somebody from the royal family in Europe farts, right? So Kim Kardashian's titties, the election, and what the fucking Prince of England or Queen of whatever the fuck they're doing, right? Oh, Harry and this person, their brother, aren't getting along. Like, I get news alerts for shit like that. And why is that? Because it's big, it's eccentric, they want views, they want monetization, right? I can look at that and be like, you know what? I don't think Kim Kardashian's titties are going to help me be more prepared today. Or I don't think knowing, that the ongoing feud with Trump administration and the Biden administration and the federal courts, dockets, all that stuff, nothing actionable for me there. Whatever the royals have going on, I don't really care about. That's information at this point I can literally look at and just filter out. No, thank you. But for everybody, it's going to be different. Maybe you want to know what's going on with the Kardashians and their titties and their newest relationship. Or maybe you want to know what's going on with every single election news, whatever. I mean, that's fine. You have to figure out what it is for you. But for me, I care about preparedness, and my time here is limited, right? And so understanding what's important and what's not important and being intentional allows you to take control of what you're looking at. It allows you to take control of the news you want to see. It allows you to take control, because what happens is we fall into these ruts of allowing the media to circumnavigate what you look at, and when they do that, you waste valuable time. And the purpose is to either control what you think or control what you think about, because if they can control what you think about, regardless of how you feel about it, they can control you. So if they know you're a very conservative person, and you care about freedom and stuff, all they have to do is keep your mind occupied and make you feel hopeless, depressed, make you feel like you're overwhelmed. And they're doing a great job of that, because every prepper influencer is talking about how depressed they are. Well, I get it. If you're allowing them to control your narrative, they're going to be able to control how you feel. So for me, it goes without saying. So that's the first thing I do. I put it through the filter of, is this something worth knowing? The next thing I do is I look at it from a empirical standpoint. And this may surprise a lot of you guys. For those of you guys that are military, first responders, law enforcement, that kind of thing, you guys are probably very familiar with the, who, what, when, where, why, how model, right? And that's good for any kind of empirical analysis of trying to figure out something, right? Because there's going to be some kind of adjudication, right? So if you're a police officer, you probably want to know who done it And you probably want to know why they done it, because that is going to allow you to understand what you can charge somebody with. And it's important in the adjudication process, right? Because we know that there's difference between premeditated versus negligent versus, you know what I mean? And so that's going to determine the severity of a crime. So from an investigation standpoint, where something needs to be adjudicated, or from a position of, where there's the outcome matters, like for example, for a house being burned down, right? It's important for the insurance company to know who and why that was burned down, right? Because that's going to determine the bottom line. But for preppers and people that are looking at the news, I find this to be really the big rut of where the problem lies therein. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because take this Nashville incident, right? We know the what, we know the when, we know the where, we know the how. What a lot of people don't know, and what I don't know, is the who and the why. And I know they've put out a name of who they think was involved, and they speculate why. But you have all these preppers that are going down this rabbit trail, really trying to figure out who this guy is and why he did it. And then you have the false flag stuff, you have the conspiracy stuff, and they spend so much time and effort in that. And so my question is, when you're spending hours, days, weeks, months, years focusing on the who and why of something, what are you doing to help prepare you from the effects of that? That's my because for this video, right, however long it is, let's say I make a 30-minute video, it probably takes me another, because I don't do a lot, you can tell I don't do a lot of editing, I don't do a lot of cuts, so I pretty much do an improv 30-minute video, unless there's some kind of glitch and I have to redo it. But a 30-minute video, I don't have Wi-Fi here, so I take that, and once I'm in town, I upload it. So a 30-minute video may take me, 30 to 40 minutes to get it fully uploaded. So the whole entirety of this video is probably going to be an hour, some change of work. I see preppers, I know preppers that have graphic design and all the editing and stuff. They spend hours on each video. God bless. But when you're spending hours on this video, you're talking about the same stuff, and you're having no real empirical data or knowledge to come with it, I'm just thinking, how much time are you're investing all that time in that? How much time are you actually investing in getting your projects going and stuff? There's only 24 hours in a day, and I'm sure they handle their time well, but for me, my time is valuable. And so when I look at something, I really need to understand. For me, I think the most important thing we need to understand is the what, the when, the where, the how, and the effects, right? So let's take the Nashville RV bombing, right? I'll tell you exactly how I looked at it and how much time it took me to interface with that, okay? So let's get started. I get a news alert, right? There is a bombing in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, that, in my mind, let's look at that. That looks like it could be something important. So I find out the what, right? What's the what? AT&T building was affected. I'm not going to say targeted. I'm not going to say that stuff because we don't know, right? We don't know the who and we don't know the why. So it was affected. Well, I know based upon my training experience, anything that has to do with communications is critical infrastructure as defined by Homeland Security, CIP, Critical Infrastructure Protection. And as you and I both know, if you watch my last video, that it's paramount the security of all critical infrastructure sectors of its highest standards in disaster preparedness, response, and recovery are the top priorities. So we know that the top priority is getting the infrastructure back in place. So critical infrastructure, what? Yeah, that's important. So let's dive into a little more. When did this happen? We know this happened on this day at this time. Okay, where did it happen? Happened at this location. How did it happen? The communication infrastructure was affected by an explosion. Okay, the next thing I want to know is what are the effects? Well, I'm not in that regional location where the CIP, Critical Infrastructure Protection, is being taken place. I'm not there. But I do know critical infrastructure was affected. So the only thing that I am thinking about now is the critical infrastructure of communications, because that's the only thing that's affected that I can see. I'm not in that location. So if something were to happen here with the communication system, what do I have in place? Well, I can tell you in my vehicle alone, I have CB, I have ham, I have the first responder network, I have one-way, two-way radios, and I have a radio device that can take my iPhone or any phone with the app, and I can send text messages digitally with my phone using this thumb drive size radio frequency. and it connects via Bluetooth, and I am able to send Bluetooth text messages up to a mile or so in this area. Text messages, which is working great because I can operate in my homestead and with all my neighbors. As long as we have that and we have the app, we can text each other just like normal. So I have numerous levels, and it can go further with a repeater, but if we're just talking about line of sight, that's what I got. So, realistically, I feel pretty good about my communication plan. I feel great. So I can take that information, know that happened, know that with the effects of a grid down situation in regards to comms, and I feel 100% completely adequate with my response, I can move on. I don't need to focus on the who. I don't need to focus on the why, because I could do that and I could spend hours, and that's not going to help me be better prepared. Now, let's say I didn't feel confident in my communications infrastructure. What should I do? Well, instead of focusing on the who and the how, I should put that time and effort into making my critical infrastructure, making my ability to have communications better. So maybe I should research radios. Maybe I should research, different communication devices. Maybe I should research how that's going to affect me and what's the best way to go about it. Maybe I should look at that. So I'd much rather research different types of communications to worry about than worry about who and why who this person is, because that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me at all. The most important thing are the effects of that. Now, is it nice to know? Sure. If I can know and if I can 100% verify who the person is and why he did it, and you can tell it to me, I want to know that. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to spend any amount of time. I'm not going to spend more than 10 minutes trying to figure that out, because it's irrelevant to the situation of preparedness. It's irrelevant, 100% irrelevant, because that system in which was attacked or affected or whatever you want to call it down your conspiracy roadhouse could be different next time. So why does it matter? The effects of that infrastructure matters, but who done it and why they did it from a preparedness standpoint, to me, is irrelevant. I just need to know how I'm affected and what my game plan is, because this shouldn't change just because I know who and why in another state or another place. Let's take something more localized, right? Let's say I know that there is people that are breaking into homesteads, right? Let's just take it very localized to me. There are people that are going in and they're taking gas cans and they're breaking the houses, or they're doing whatever here in the countryside. Okay, that's something that is important for me to know. So what's happening? Homesteads are being broken into, farms are being broken into. When is this happening? This is happening in the morning hours between 2 and 3 a.m. Where is it happening? In my county. How is it happening? Well, there is a propensity to break into sheds. There is a propensity to break into places where people aren't necessarily around to steal stuff. What are those effects? I need to make sure that my infrastructure is safeguarded. Now, how do I do that? That's most important. Knowing who, sure, it'd be nice to know who. Know why, it'd be nice to know why, but that doesn't change how I prepare. And if everybody knows who and everybody knows why, chances are law enforcement is going to be able to get them pretty quickly. Or if we know who, obviously it's nice because we can, we probably somebody, especially if it's local name people recognize, you can stop it. But does that mean he's the only person that's going to do it? Does that mean that you can stay safe? Does that mean that, just because I know who, I can relax? Because I hate to break it to you, if anybody's on my property at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, regardless if I know who the person is or not, let's say it's not Joe Blow, let's say it's somebody else, that's still very discerning. And just because I know who doesn't mean that, I'm somehow safe, doesn't mean he's the only person that's going to try to violate you. So the who and the why is really irrelevant to me. I don't care if he's doing it because he's a habitual user of methamphetamines, or he just likes getting his rocks off by, burglarizing people. I don't care either way. My only care is the effect and how I prepare to that effect. That's the most important thing to me. I can give two rats' asses why he's doing it or who he is. It's not going to change how I prepare, right? And I think that's important, because when we run ourselves on the wheel on trying to figure out the who and the why, it just causes a lot of lost time that's really in my opinion, unjustifiable, right? Because the news is already putting out a name. Nobody in the preparedness community seems to buy it. Everyone seems to think it's a false flag. Cool, whatever. It can't be proven either way. You know, I can't prove to you that it's not a false flag. You can't prove to me it is a false flag. But what we should be able to come in chorus and say, regardless of who's right, who's doing the most effective preparedness, who's being most effective, the person who understands that communication infrastructure is important and is actively making their situation better, or the person who thinks it's a conspiracy and is spending hours, days, weeks, months focusing on something that they can't have any actionable outcome for. To me, it's quite obvious. I would say the person that is taking the information and working on it is being most effective and being most efficient. Like I said, we can have two totally different viewpoints on that. You could totally believe that it was a false flag, insert alphabet agency here, trying to do this, do that. These, businesses and these people are intertwined. It has to do with the election, Dominion. You can do all that crap, and you can have all these conspiracy theories. What I'm saying to you is, cool, have all your conspiracy theories, but we know what was affected. We know what services we're not being able to provide until they were secured. So my question to you is, how are you more prepared knowing this information? And what are you spending your time on? To me, that's what this comes down to. In order to be prepared, I need to know what, I need to know when, I need to know where, I need to know how. And with that, I can take that into the effects and figure it out. And that's literally as much time that I spent on it. That was it. And then I can disregard the rest. Because even now, even to this day, nobody knows anything. But I know where I'm secure in my comms. I know my comm plan. See what I mean? So you can spend the time and energy getting overwhelmed, getting sad, getting freaked out. But that's not going to help you. That's going to depress you and cause you to have inaction. Take the information you can from it. Figure out how that affects you. Focus on those effects. Move on. You will be a much more efficient and much more happier person. I guarantee it. Because like I said, if you focus on the conspiracies of all these things forming against you without being able to prove anything, you're going to put yourself in a depressive mode of inaction. But if you can understand, well, this is the critical infrastructure that is affected, this is what is going to be affected and what I'm not going to have unless I provide it myself, let me work on providing that for myself. Then you're set up. Then you at least have that covered. So, like I said, I'm encouraging you guys to really understand what it means to take this information and to use it effectively, right? I get it. From an adjudication standpoint, the who and the why are super important. They are. I'm not going to tell you that they're not. Absolutely. Like I said, from an investigator standpoint, the who and why matters a lot. But from a preparedness safeguarding aspect, for me, that's really an irrelevant. I mean, it's not irrelevant. I'd like to know, but I don't need it to be successful or efficient in my preparedness applications. Because the way I look at it, regardless of who or why somebody did something, I should be prepared regardless. Because the next time it happens may not be the same who or why. It won't. So since we know it's not going to be, or there's a good chance that it won't be the same person, especially when the whole country's looking for him, I still need to be prepared for that inevitability if I feel like that's on my doorstep, right? And so that's how you look at it. If you have a situation that's localized, right? Yeah, if you have, some localized event like the people that are currently there in Tennessee, they're going to look at it a little differently than I am. Since they're in that local region, comms very well can affect the emergency response, which we saw. It can affect agriculture. It can affect just the fact that you may not be able to leave your home because you're in that isolated zone. Or maybe you have to leave your home because you're being evacuated. So you need to look at that and look at how it affects you, not the who and why. The who and why matters less than the effects that are going to be withstanding immediately and then therein in the future. So like I said, I encourage you guys. This is how I do it. Like I said, I look at the information. Okay, there's something that somebody's wanting me to look at. I take it in. Obviously, I'm immediately going to form an opinion on it, and I need to figure out, is this worth any more of my time? If it's not worth any of my time, disregard it, move on. I want to have intentional thoughts, and I want things that are intentional, things that I know I need to focus on. Okay, you have the information. Yes, this is worth looking at. Okay, cool. What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? How did it happen? How does that affect my preparedness? Figure out how it affects your preparedness. Am I set? Am I good? You're set. Okay, disregard. No, you're not set. You should look at these things because you are not strong in these areas. Okay, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to focus on those areas I'm weak in. I'm not going to focus on the conspiracies of who and why because it's irrelevant. I'm going to focus on what I need to make this reality not affect me. I need to form a reality where this isn't important to me, because preparedness, when taken to its logical end, is accountability for the human condition. So I need to take this information, figure out if it affects me, and I want to make my dependence on that system less and less. So if I can look at an incident, even if it's localized, and be like, nope, it doesn't affect me because I'm not dependent on it. That's awesome. But let's say you do need to focus and you do feel like that there is a communications apparatus you need to work on. Perfect. Spend your time and energy researching that and looking into it. Perfect. Now you're more sustainable. And now you're better prepared for the future. But spending your time on the web, but running down these conspiracies, it isn't helping you with that plan. Like I said, it's what's going to make you feel overwhelmed. It's what's going to make you feel scared. It's what's going to make you feel depressed. It's what's going to, all these different prepper fatigue things that everybody's talking about, that's what happens. And I feel for you, you know. But that's how I'm able to, you know, like I said, you give me any piece of information, and that is the metric that I am going to filter through. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because I don't feel like anybody knows anything more than I do. And if I do get more information, I put it through that same filter, and I'll be able to determine if there's something I need to act on. But as of right now, it's great because I can literally take on long loads of information, and I can filter through it, and I can feel good about filtering through it and feel good that I've actually done something about it versus running down this rabbit trail of, you know, doom and gloom. Something happened, filter it through, take what you need from it, move on. So that's what I have for you guys. That is how I look at it. Tell me what you think. If you think I got it completely wrong, let me know in the comment section below. You guys have been doing awesome at that, by the way. Thank you guys. A lot of you guys don't agree with me, but I appreciate it. Leave a thumbs down. Articulate yourself in the comment section. Let's have a talk. My Civil War video, I mean, you guys outstanding. Awesome. Like I said, I think it's great. That video got a lot of responses to it. So like I said, if you don't agree, please leave a thumbs down. While you're down there, leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. Like I said, I'm always, you know, I'm open to do collaboration videos. If you really think that, you know, you want to do a video response or be like, you know, let's talk about this. I feel like you got this all wrong. Let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. But like I said, you guys have been doing a great job of communicating with me in the comment section. I look forward to seeing you guys there. But like I said, this is how I look at it, man. A lot of people out there are scared, depressed, hopeless, overwhelmed. It shouldn't be that way. And I think a lot of that is because the narrative is being put on you and they're telling you what to think about. And you go down these rabbit trails of the who and why, and you just feel overwhelmed and you feel like just the world is ending, so to speak, and there's no way out. Like I said, I look at the news, I don't see that at all. But that's because I've trained myself to look at it and to get the information in this way. And it's been super helpful in my life. So I hope I can at least help one of you guys out there. Like I said, leave me a comment in the comment section below if you think I got something wrong or you like what I said. I look forward to interacting with you guys there. Well, hope you guys have a great day as always, guys.